So, I was gonna ask, how do you connect to your character and fit in the role?
You know, at first I didn't think I was very similar to my character at all, and I think that was originally what sort of drew me in to see how we differentiate. But as I got to know Erin more as a person throughout the story, I started to see a little bit more tidbits of myself with her, and that sense of duty and honor, and trying to be aware and adapt to all these things coming at her, and of course wanting to take care of the people that I love.
I almost think of KJ as the best version of myself, or who I'd like to be. We share a lot of the same values, and she's incredibly compassionate and loyal and morally grounded, and I strive to have the same qualities as her.
Now, we don't want to spoil too much, obviously. I've seen it all, and it's great, but it's like, we see that Erin is the first one that runs into one of herself in the trailer with Ali Wong. Did you get a chance to really work with Ali a lot, to talk with her on set, and get advice maybe from her?
We definitely learned a lot from Ali on in more of an industry sense on how to take care of ourselves and to always be true to who we are inside. But the cool part about Erin is that how she turns out is very unexpected to not only Erin but to the audience as well. So it was nice to play off of that dynamic with Ali, and we had just a great time crafting this character.
So I have a question, which is that it's pretty rare for a show that's not geared towards a young audience to be really centered around, preteens, teenagers. And so for you guys to be kind of carrying the show that's really not aimed at your necessarily demographic, how does that feel? Do you feel pressure around that, or does it seem unusual to you?
One of the first things that struck me when I got the sides or the script for my audition was not only the amount of dialogue that these characters were given, but also the maturity of the dialogue, and how they weren't just kids with simple stories that, people think that children are only able to understand. And as young actors, that was very important to us, to be trusted to play real human beings and not just, a little kid in a movie. And then we know how important the comics are to a lot of people, because it's such a human story, and everyone has experienced growing up and being 12 years old and that awkward feeling of adolescence, and so it was definitely something that needed to be told and needed to be respected, because it often isn't, and it felt very important to be able to do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And back to what she was saying about little kids in movies, I feel like a lot of the times when you're a young girl, you're playing this precocious child of a single dad. It's always says witty things, and it's "Are you going to marry my dad?" or something like that, in some rom-com. But so it's nice that our characters all have a sense of depth, and they're not one-dimensional. They don't have one personality trait, and because that's how it actually is in real life. And so we just feel very, very privileged to portray an authentic story.
Everyone, all four of the girls have, very unique qualities that, like you said, represent really meaningful things to people. You two both have quite important parts of that. I'm also a queer Jewish person, so you're my favorite already. Erin, deals, discovering her, future self and these mental health issues. And I was just wondering, again, that kind of material is very meaningful to people. It's very kind of like you said, responsible. And I was just wondering, what elements of kind of those deep human issues were either your favorite or the most difficult to kind of really sit and think about when you got the roles?
I feel like everyone started leaning in when I said
It's a very intense show.
Yes, it is.
So,
yeah. That's a very heavy question. It's okay. I'm very thankful that you asked that. I feel like when you're a kid, people have these expectations set for you. I can't remember where I read this, but people often treat you as a child and expect you to act like an adult, or they treat you like an adult and expect you to act like a child. So I feel like with my character specifically, she's really slapped in the face with reality and that sense of the bittersweet feeling of growing up. when you're 12, I feel like there's just this uncertainty, like nothing really feels permanent in that moment. You don't know if you fit in or not, and it's asking yourself this big existential question: who am I going to become? What am I going to be? And I think the show really touches on, like, you know, with Erin having anxiety when she gets older. She doesn't exactly know it when she's little, but it's really nice to see that dynamic of real people that suffer from those problems.
So sorry, would you repeat the question?
I'm just sorry. I was saying, you know, all of the cast represent, you know, quite meaningful aspects of humanity. I said, you two have specific, really important ones. You know, your character specifically with your queer storyline as a Jewish kid. I was just wondering, when you kind of first got the script, what was what was your reaction to kind of learning the depth of the material about the specific, you know, for you, the queer issues of KJ?
Well, I know how important KJ's arc is to a lot of people, and each of the girls have an arc that represents somebody out there, and this show has a story for everybody, and with KJ's story in particular, I really wanted to approach it delicately and do my best to tell it truthfully and with dignity, because her story, it's very internal. She goes on this journey of finding herself by herself, and I hope that audiences appreciate the care that we've taken, and the influences of the 80s and how that impact the way she views her life. And I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. It was a very heavy question.